Hi everyone, I'm here with Adriana Monsalve, the co-creator of the Homie House Press. Homie House Press is a radical cooperative platform that challenges the ever-changing forms of storytelling with image and text. So, Adriana, how are you doing?
Hello, Keenan. Thanks for having me, y'all. Happy to be here. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just
Yeah,
came back from a morning walk. It's sunny in Cali. We good.
yeah. New York is just getting sunny. So that spring energy is in the air. People are feeling good. I might go for a bike ride later. Just gotta
Nice.
soak up the sun as much as we can.
Oh yeah.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? How did you and Katarina start Homie House Press, and what influenced you guys to just set things in motion?
Sure. Yeah. So Homeos Press, yeah, it's a platform that me and Kate started because we felt like there wasn't space for us in the art community, in the sense that like we're trained photojournalists, but we don't fit in that space. Like we wanted to tell our own narratives, and we felt like as photojournalists, like when we get asked and get these different assignments with magazines and newspapers, like the work we were turning in was always like they were always taking a lot of the meat away from it and taking away a lot of the sentiments from it. And we felt like as queer kids, as POC femmes, we wanted like the space to talk about our narratives in ways that were honest. So we started this platform 4 years ago, kind of just to start kind of in a way to challenge like all of our own fears that we had about showing our own stories, and yeah, making this space like a really honest and open house space to like talk about all our fears, and show like our stories. But it started that way, that it was just like more like self-publishing with me and Kate, but now it's grown into a collective space where we have so many collaborators, and like the niche of it is like it's so needed, because when we're talking about photography and photojournalism and challenging like how traditionally those spaces have been used, it's like there's a lot of people that really want to use that space when we're talking about like photo, like art books in general. There's so much of that, but photo books, it's like, yeah, there's a lot more need in that, because traditionally it's so it's so elite, and it's so for elite art. And so it's grown in a really beautiful way, and we're really happy to still be making books and bringing more people onto the platform and getting to grow in like such a fun and creative way.
That sounds so amazing. So you'd say they kind of started off as just like an organic, like passion project, and it's grown to like much more. It's like a platform in itself now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it, like I said, it was something that we were like, we don't know how to make books. Like we're trained photographers, but we don't know how to make books. Like, and it was something where we just like started like playing with design, started like figuring out, like talking with different printers, talking with different like printers about like their capabilities with like if we want a book to like have this type of binding, this stuff. We didn't know the names of anything. We were just experimenting. And because of the people we are, because we're just talking so much with everyone and just like being like people that make connections and connect with everyone, like we were able to get enough of what we needed to like, and also to like really push against the idea of things needing to be perfect before they come out. So, and we put out our first book, like, right, that was in 2017, and we made 50 copies only, and it sold out in 3 weeks. And then we were like, whoa, like people care about this? Like, how do people even know about this book? And so then we were like, okay, cool, let's make another one. And so now we're like, yeah, it's grown, and really, we're just really naive coming into it. And it's been such an embracing space, the DIY bookmaking world.
Yeah. So would you say that you guys did a lot of it based off of like the people around you, like your community, or did you pick up a lot of skills along the way? Like to this day, are you guys starting to do more of it yourself, or is it just like all about like the people around you, just like making more of just like a sense of community?
There's definitely a sense of a community with Homie House Press, and the way that we are really pushing against the way that art is made, really, in the sense that when we talk about art, like a lot of times, generations before us want to tell us that like the artist creates like in a vacuum, and that they're the sole creator, and that the artist is treated like God in a lot of ways, where we're like, no artist creates in a vacuum. No artist, and photographers specifically, because that's mostly our niche. Like photographers have this idea that like that they're doing all the work on their own, when it's like every single person that you're photographing is collaborating with you. Every single person that you're talking to make an image like is your collaborator, and they are co-authors of this image as well. And so we're really challenging that space, and that everything we do is collaborative, and we're not interested in doing it if it's not in community, and really holding like the thoughts that photographers have like to the fire, and really having them have to like come to terms with like the insane amounts of harm that has been done in the name of photography, which is bullshit. But yeah, like me and Kate, it's still very much like me and Kate are like the co-founders of this, and we make and run it, but we bring in so many artists to be able to like, so when we say we bring in artists, it's that they'll come in with like a project, and they're like, I made this project, but I don't really know if it can be a book, and I don't know how to add text to it to make it be a book. So we would like help them with narration, help them to figure out like how this can come into like how it can be put into like an archival way so that it can be a book. So we facilitate that space. We help them produce, we definitely like take on all of the art directing and the design. And we help them to like figure out how to make their story come to life, like in print.
So are you guys like trying to start moving towards maybe having like a physical location? Because I know you guys do have like an online presence, but so I'm like involved with 8Ball, and like just there's a lot of like organic artist-based communities in New York, and I don't really know how it is in the West Coast, but are you guys trying to create a similar type of environment for Homie House Press?
Yeah, we've actually like Homie House, because we're like, so I don't know if I mentioned, but I've just recently moved to Cali. Like I was based in DC for like 4 years. And Kate is based in Milano, in Italy. So we have like a very like transnational space, in that like we can take up a lot of space. And because I move, like I move pretty often. I feel like I'm pretty nomadic. Kate we have like we call it the lab in where Kate is, and she has like, it's very like, I mean, pre-pandemic, yeah, this was different. But and where I was in DC, like we had HHPHQ, the Homie House Press headquarters. So we had like a physical space, and it was used for workshops, it was used for a lot of different things. But since pandemic, like yeah, it changed a lot. And so yeah, here I don't fully know yet what's gonna happen, and I also don't know how long I'm gonna be in the West Coast, but it's working right now. But yeah, we really loved using the physical space in different ways, and the lab was used so different than the HHPHQ. And yeah, sadly, Kate couldn't be with us today. She was supposed to come, but she couldn't make it. But yeah, she would have been able to talk more about the lab. But yeah, so we're super interested in the physical space. Just right now, it's not the priority.
Yeah, I totally understand. Right now, it's such a transient time. I feel like no one could really tell what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Saying like even just like talking about the future, but
yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about how you and Katerina met?
Yeah, me and Kate, we both did grad school at University of Westminster in London. Like we graduated 2014. So yeah, like 6-7 years ago. And we met there. I mean, the cohort was small. It was like 20 individuals that were we were both, it was the Masters for Photojournalism. And it was a small cohort, and I was the only, I was the only person of color there that I guess identified that way. And I was one of the only Americans. And it was a really tumultuous space, as academia is. The higher and higher you go up in it, like for POC and like Black femmes. But Kate was someone that really like I don't know, she held a lot of space for me and was someone that, although like this is an Italian femme, and didn't necessarily understand where I was coming from, she was one of the only students, people in my cohort that like really like was okay to be challenged and was okay to like talk about things, about identity and different things. And yeah, so we connected really well. And when we graduated in 2014, we were like, we love working together so well and we challenge each other so well that we want to start something. And it took us like 3 years to really like figure out what it was. We started magazines, we started different things. It would always fall apart because we were bringing other people on. Like we were like, oh, we're just photographers. We need to hire writers and like editors and like all these things. But after 3 years of like having so much like just like insecurities about everything, then we were like, you know what, fuck it, like every time we bring other people on, this falls apart. So when we started Homie House, we were like, we're gonna do this ourselves. We're gonna like figure out the design. We're gonna figure out like, we're gonna become writers. We're gonna become like publishers. We're gonna figure out all this stuff. And it's just run by the two of us. And we did. And it's been like, and it's never been perfect in the sense that when we started it, we were like, it was so, I feel like it, I mean, I'm always proud of it, but it just looks so different from when it started. And I'm just like, yeah, we didn't wait till it was perfect at all. We just like, we were like, okay, we've had our heart broken enough by everyone. Let's just do it with the two of us because we trust each other fully and we know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually a perfect transition to my next question, which is, how have you seen Homie House Press like grow through the years? Like, I feel like last year was such a transformational year for so many people. Did you guys notice like a lot of growth within your team, and how do you think you guys have grown as people?
I think, right. I think right now, like, it's just all about embracing change and all about like how much we can adapt. And as creatives, I feel like we are masters of adaptation because yeah, we always have to figure out how we're going to survive, how we're going to make money, how we're going to do this as creatives, as like all these things. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like in a lot of ways, creatives were so well equipped for the past year, as of like, we know how to navigate these spaces and know how to survive when things are really crazy. But I think in a lot of ways, I feel like, and also because me and Kate have always done everything so like remotely, right? Because Kate is based in Italy and I'm based in the US. So in a lot of ways, I feel like what was the most different of this past year, I mean, obviously there's a lot of personal change and things, but when I'm talking about Homie House specifically, I feel like there's a lot of light shown on us. Like we became a lot more visible because of the fact that like, that we've been out here talking about all these different injustices within the art world, within all of the different identities that we are. And so I felt like because of the civil unrest, because of the pandemic, like all of that came to light, and there was just a lot more people wanting to talk to us, wanting to work with us, wanting to showcase us. And it's like, okay, cool, but we're not flexing. Like we've been out here doing this work. Like y'all are late. Y'all the ones that are late that are coming to see us. Like we've been here. And we've always been like rooted in abolition work. So I would say the biggest change is that we become more visible and people have, I guess, noticed and seen our value more, which sucks that it has to come to that. Yeah. A freaking pandemic and freaking like such whirlwinds when it comes to racial identity. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I feel like just people definitely became more aware of a lot of like glaring issues that just go on in society, and I feel like just the world as a whole has definitely changed for the better last year. And I like your team was primed and ready to go like even before. So do you guys have anything that like you're looking to do this year or like in the coming years? Like, are you guys trying to expand your team, or are you still trying to keep it like close to home but still have that very big, like you and Katarina as like the main people, and just like have your collaborators like just create like community? Or is it are you trying to like add people to the Homie House team?
Currently, no. Like currently, me and Kate, I feel like we're growing at a good rate where we can still handle everything. And I mean, this is my full-time job. It's got this part-time job, and until it becomes both of our full-time jobs, I think like um yeah, we've definitely worked with like interns and different like youth that want to like learn more about like scrappy design and like the way we do things, and we love like having interns and we love working with them. All of that is a little bit more complicated just because of the pandemic, but it's okay, we've still been making it work. um but no, I think we're just really excited to still be making books. We're just really excited to still be like, yeah, still be creating in the midst of so much loops and swirls. We're really excited for the project we're working on right now. It's called Palette Palette. That it's a project where we're working with Crystal Mack, she's a chef, food artist, and just someone that is like very invested in food justice in Baltimore. And so yeah, we're talking about chicken boxes and really talking about that in how and that relates to food justice. And we can't wait. We're like having so much fun making this project. It'll come out like mid-March, end of March, probably. Yeah.
So is there any specific project you think that like you're most proud of, or
I feel like most proud of, I don't know. I feel like every single project we work on, like it's such a part of me and it becomes like our baby, even if it's not like my own. And so I feel like the project that I'm most proud of is always the one that I'm currently working on. So yeah, Palette Palette, I'm really excited about it right now.
that's great. So another thing I wanted to bring up was I read online that you guys have a three-part manifesto.
Hmm.
Can you speak a little bit about what that manifesto is and why it exists?
Yeah, so the three-part Femifesto, actually, three-part Femifesto is basically it's three posters is the way with the format that we used. We didn't use book or yeah, we wanted to make it posters so it could be something you could post. It's actually up here, like the blue, yeah, pink and purple. And it's too far away, but there's writing on all of them where each one basically we were outlining. I think we made this maybe a year ago or so, maybe a little over a year ago, where we wanted to, after like 3 years of being around, we were like, let's really try to put words to what defines us and what sets us apart, not only in publishing, but in photography. And what, like, let's really put words to who we are in this space. So we did this three-part manifesto to talk about the three pillars that we feel like make up like the ethos of Homie House. And the first one, the blue one, is the transfronteriza life, which transfronteriza is a word that that means like basically it means border crosser, that you're constantly like moving between cultures and moving like, so it's a word that we've taken from like immigrant adjacent identities, immigrant identities. And so, before I started Homie House, I was doing a lot of work on immigration, like in Texas on the border of Texas and Mexico. I was living there for 2 years, and I just feel like that whole story is very much like something that I've spent a lot of time with. And transfronteriza was a word that I was just like, always like, this word is so like, it encompasses so many things outside of of literal immigration. And it's something where in Homie House we really embrace like a lot of the gray and a lot of the in between. And so yeah, we want to leave space for everyone that feels like they've never that they're never able to be like the fullness of who they are, because they are living so much in the in-betweenness of all that they are. So Transfronteriza Life is very much talking about in between stages, and we always do that, like in every single book that comes up. So that's the number one pillar. The number two thing is the personal, political, and poetic. Personal, political, and poetic is basically meaning that we are approaching photography and photojournalism in a sense that we start with the self, we start with the personal and connected to the political, and we turn it into something that's really captivating on both sides. And we're usually using like parallel storytelling, and yeah, so it's challenging the photographic world in the sense that like the photojournalistic world, in the sense that we always have to, yeah, photojournalism is supposed to look a way that like it never is connected to you, where we're starting it with the self. And then the final one is community over everything. And community over everything is talking about collaboration. How, although right now, like people are talking about collaboration is a very sexy term, I feel like, in the art world right now. But collaboration is really hard, and we cry a lot, and it's like a really when you're really collaborating, like there's so much vulnerability and so much intimacy that you have to confront every day when you're making like really personal things that are archival, that are long term lasting, and yeah. So we talk about how, so that last pillar is talking about how we're not interested in making art unless it is within community, and we're not interested in collaboration just for saying collaboration. Like it really is something that we hold as sacred, and it's really fundamental to a lot of what we do.
I think that's amazing that you guys have like, you have your principles that you have just like, it's literally like set in stone. I think that it's great to let people know like what you're about and is what you guys stand for. I think that's a huge. But yeah, so thank you for coming by. I feel like just one last question is, do you have anything that you would like to tell our audience or that they should check out in the meantime?
Yeah, let's see. I think, well, I guess anything to tell your audience, I would say, like, if there's anyone that has like projects that you're thinking about that have photos in them and you've never thought about it in a book form, like email us. We're always open to submissions. We're always open to like collaborate with different identities and to broaden like, yeah, the scope of people that are making books. So yeah, I mean, we want to hear people's stories, and we want to help them to make them something that is long lasting. So yeah, always ready to receive more really interesting stories. And as for something that I'm excited about, the last book we just put out is a really beautiful project by River Coelho. It's on the site right now. It's called Faith Fe, and it's a really queer project looking at migration and looking at embodiment of the environments that surround you. Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, feel free to go to the website, check everything out. Also, feel free to ask me questions whenever, email me. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming by. If anyone would like to reach Adriana, their email is homiehousepress@gmail.com, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming by, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Keenan.
Bye.
Peace. Take care.